that they did win the Battle of Baden Hill.
Yeah.
The Britons did. And whether or not they had help from the Woads, or as they called them back then, the Picts, Picts, I guess they don't know for certain, but it was a battle that they won that at least delayed the Saxon invasion by a couple generations.
The final battle of this, they actually did a ton of research into Roman strategy. So all the smoke that you see, that's what the Romans would do. They would light like stuff on fire and to cause like smoke on the battlefield, and then they would divide and conquer. So, they wiped out those people who ran to the castle, and then they did the fire trench to split them up, because the Saxons had a much bigger force. So this was a well thought out battle. But hearing Fuqua talk about it, this 20 minutes of nonstop strategy, you should listen to the commentary at the end just to hear him talk about everything that they thought about. And also, I love a good catapult or trebuchet in movies, Tom.
What's kind of cool about Fuqua talking about that is pre-production and early on, like, he was so, like, excited and I'm not going to say he wasn't putting forth his best effort, because he always was, but he was very excited for this movie. And then, when they changed the PG-13 rating, and then he realized how big this battle was going to get, like, Jerry Bruckheimer was trying to prep him the entire time. Like, this is going to be the biggest battle you're ever going to film in your entire career. And he said, like, at that point, once he finally realized what he was in store for, he had, like, a moment of doubt, like, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
Tears of the Sun 2, Training Day 2.
Yes.
All right, so hey.
But
go for it.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, let's take a quick break, and we come back, we'll dive into there's so much more to talk about, so we'll talk about a lot more of King Arthur. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. Tom, I have a question for you. If you...
Ask away.
How would you fight if you were one of these guys, or the men of the round table? So you have Arthur, one sword, Lancelot, two. Lancelot's more of like a skilled fighter. You have Tristan, Mads Mikkelsen, who's very finesse, very silky smooth. You have Joel Edgerton as Gawain, who is just a human battering ram. You have Hugh Dancy as Galahad, who's probably precision. He's young. He's just headlong into battle. Then you have Bors, Ray Winstone, who has those hand knives that just punches people in the face and kicks them in the ribs. Then you have Dagonet, Ray Stevenson, who is just huge.
He's a bear. He just has a big battle axe. And then every time he drops his sword and picks up his axe.
Yeah, I love it. And then you have Guinevere, who's like kind of feral. If you could be a combination of these fighters, who would you be?
Probably Tristan.
Oh, you'd be silky smooth fighting?
I would try to be.
You know what?
I would probably die, but...
I see you doing that. I think you would actually take the time to be a swordsmith. I could see you taking it very seriously.
I think I'd either be Tristan or go polar opposite to like a Galahad. Or not Galahad, Gawain, Joel Edgerton's character. He's got like a knife that's upside down in his hand and then like a tomahawk in the other. It's almost like very Last of the Mohicans-ish. So he's like going to town, akimbo, nasty weapons.
I'd probably be a Joel Edgerton in this movie, because I wouldn't want to carry an axe. Like, one swing and you miss. I'd rather have a hammer and a knife.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, could you picture me training with a sword?
Maybe like a butter knife.
Yeah. I couldn't. Oh. I would never be Zorro. I could never fence. I think I would just bonk things on the head. I'd be like Andre the Giant from Princess Bride.
Just brute strength.
Now, something I loved in the commentary, and I also liked in this movie, is based on the lore, you have the love triangle between Lancelot, Arthur, and Guinevere. And I love what Antoine said. He's like, we're not doing that. He's like, where I come from, he's like, we don't do that. He's like, these guys fought together, they killed people together, they saved each other's lives. Like, they are not going to get into a love triangle. And I kind of like that aspect of it. There was some flirting between Lancelot and Guinevere, but then he's like, nah, like, you go hang out with Arthur. Like, it's cool. I get it. Like, he wasn't even jealous. I liked that they just ditched that drama aspect of it, because there wasn't enough time, first of all. And this isn't a Sean Connery, Richard Gere, Juliette Binoche love triangle. This was just, we're buds, we get it done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that was, maybe that was a part of the reason this movie didn't do as well either, is that people were expecting that love triangle and it never came to fruition. But it's like you do feel, though, that there is a little bit of something there between Lancelot and Guinevere.
Well, yeah, I mean,
not much, but there is like that little flirty look. Like she's not yet committed to King Arthur. And when or Arthur's not necessarily committed to her, and Lancelot's got like that boyish charm about him. Like he's got the good looks, he's smooth, he says the right thing, he's incredibly passionate, charismatic, but he's also, he hasn't converted yet, at least in this movie, to Christianity. So it's like he still has that, and I don't even know if he's religious at all. So it's like he's not even like a pagan in the movie. He's just out there, I keep saying it, like salt of the earth, just doing what he does.
It's pretty interesting.
Then, you've got the feral Guinevere, and so it's like I feel like there is like that attraction to each other, but it's never realized before he gets an arrow to the chest.
And then he throws a sword into Schweiger.
Great death.
She's holding him though when he's dying, and I mean that is pretty interesting. Where Clive Owen's praying, and Gruffle or Lancelot's like, "Man, why are you talking to God? You should be talking to me." I'm paraphrasing there, but it's kind of an interesting conversation between the two.
So I think you really, more than anything, you almost, if there ever is a triangle that starts to develop, you feel it in that final battle, because it's like all the characters kind of individually placed throughout the battlefield, having their own individual battles, but it's like it's always that cut. Like there's never, every cut is in direct relation from like King Arthur to Lancelot, or Lancelot to Guinevere, and then back to Lancelot, back to Arthur. So it's like you're never like straying too far away from that stuff, but it's like they're always like one is always trying to get to the other to help the other out.
Yeah, I love when the lady picks warriors take down that huge guy.
Oh yeah,
that was gangster.
Skarsgård's like right hand man.
Oh, wait, didn't Till kill him though? Remember that scene where he's like, you've lost the respect of our enemy. You're not the second in command. This guy's the second in command. He's like my son. And then Till kills him.
No, that was some other poor schmuck that was sitting at that campfire with him.
And he did that on purpose.
That was just like some dude eating like a chicken leg. Like he was just wrong place at the wrong time and got a knife.
And he gets murdered and Skarsgård laughs about it. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, they've got an interesting relationship. So it's like, Skarsgård's the father, of course, but it's like you can tell that he, at least in his own way, loves his son, but it's like tough love. It's like he demotes him because he failed, to capture King Arthur out on the ice. But then at the battle, when he knows that Arthur set a trap for him, he tells his son to send out his army, but then he says, no, you wait here. And so then they all rush in, get locked off behind the doors, and then they all die. So it's like he held them back because he knew everyone was going to die.
And yeah, that's interesting too, because Fuqua knew that guy was a good general. And so at the end, after they played he wasn't going to send his entire army in, but they played on his vanity. He's this great warrior, so he wouldn't not be led into that trap based on hubris. It's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
What do you think about the ice battle where poor Ray Stevenson, the bear, gets killed? That was the hardest thing to film, actually. They said they shot it last, and they built tanks, and they had crazy sets. Like, I thought that was a really neat digitally enhanced set, too. It was almost Mad Max Fury Road-esque, where they added a lot to it in post. But I thought that was a fun battle.
Yeah, I think of all the battles in the movie, it was definitely the most VFX heavy.
Yeah.
But it was very well done. Like, I thought it was seamless, other than, the really exaggerated shots of, the camera following the ice cracks through the ice and then, like, under the water with the footsteps. But it was all stuff that I thought enhanced the battle itself. It's like it's something that you necessarily don't think about, but the camera was showing it to you anyways.
Those crossbows, I guess the arrows, did they have the wind, or just the arrows go farther than the crossbows do.
They must have just had some superior bows, because they were out shooting the Saxons by a good 100 yards. I mean, that's not even close.
I was like, is it a malfunction in the crossbows? Did they have the wind? Like, did you understand that scene, or is it just saying they're that good?
I think they're just that good, and they have superior weaponry.
Got it. Because
that was kind of my take on it, but who knows? Maybe they did have like a good, strong southern wind at their back or something.
Do crossbows shoot farther than arrows?
I don't know. I would think no.
So maybe that's...
I would think that a crossbow would not shoot as far as like a longbow.
Yeah, so they had a bunch of longbows. And they're just wiping people out. Every shot. People, arrows and eyes. Arrows and legs.
Oh, they were just like pure 100% marksmen. Like, just shooting guys in the eyes at will.
Remember that scene in the beginning
heck of a shot.
When the pick kills that Roman soldier, cuts off his head, and then he gets his head cut off?
Yes. It's a very short celebration.
That's a double decapitation.
Within like 5 seconds of each other.
Have you ever seen a double decapitation on film before? I don't think so. I've never seen a double decapitation.
I think just King Arthur.
Imagine that. You're like, yeah, I cut this Roman's head off. And then, boop. Like, if I saw that, you and I are buds, right? We're picks. You're Hank the Pick, and I'm Joe the Pick. And I see you kill a Roman, cut his head off. And then I see you getting your head cut off.
Wait, why am I getting my head cut off?
A month later, I'm just going to be sitting around a fire talking to the other picks. Like, hey, man, I miss Hank, but it is kind of funny what happened to him. Like, he was celebrating with a decapitated head, and he got decapitated.
Man, Arthur got him good. That was a good one.
That sword cut through steel, cut through spinal cords with this one swoop.
It's a good swing.
I have a question.
Give that man a baseball bat.
We're friends, and you see me get my head cut off while I'm holding a decapitated head. Would you laugh about it?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of funny.
No.
That's kind of funny, though, right?
I would probably immediately poop myself and run in the other direction.
If I saw you in a battle and that happened, I'd be afraid at first, but telling the story years later. So, like, when I'm explaining what happened to your family, I'm like, so he killed this soldier, ripped his head off, and then, and I'd start laughing. And then,
you'd laugh, and you'd say, well, it was one of those you had to be there things.
Yeah. And then he gets his head straight cut off, and his family's crying. They're like, well, I guess you had to be there.
You just had to be there, then you realize, no, they probably wouldn't want to be there either.
Actually, you wouldn't want to see that either. But then a month later, everyone would be laughing about it.
And everyone would be drinking an IPA then.
Oh, IPAs are delicious. Double IPA.
Awful.
No, but I don't know. I don't see how... Wait, I have a question. Why did this movie receive a 31% tomato meter rating from critics?
I have a belief that the movie itself knew what it was marketing, but I don't think the audience really got it. Like, I feel like at the time, especially the word of mouth at that time, it was coming off, there really weren't too many grand, big scale, sword and shield action adventure movies up until that time.
Yeah.
So it's like in, early 90s, I guess you could consider, 91, like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. And then you've got like 95 with, Braveheart. 96, you've got Dragonheart.
The only thing I remember about that movie is Dennis Quaid, just yelling Dennis Quaid yelling the entire time.
And then, boy, I don't even remember if there was something in the late 90s like that. Then all of a sudden Gladiator came around, and that was just such a game changer. Then you saw this big uptick in this genre again. Knight's Tale, 01, then 04, as we already mentioned, you've got Troy, Alexander, and King Arthur. And I think I'd be remiss to say that all three kind of failed pretty hard.
Yeah.
Maybe not box office wise, Alexander did. The other two did all right at the box office, but all critically were panned pretty hard off of that.
What's better?
And then
Kingdom of Heaven or Gladiator?
Oh, Gladiator, by far.
What's better? Kingdom of Heaven, Director's Cut, or Gladiator?
Gladiator.
Listen, Gladiator's better, but I'd rather watch Kingdom of Heaven. I love that movie. Do you like Kingdom of Heaven?
I'm still in the process of rewatching the Director's Cut.
It's so good.
Maybe I'll finish that today.
Dude's awesome. I think Orlando Bloom has killed a lot of people on screen.
Yeah, he has.
Sorry, I interrupted your
think
point.
it's-
What were you finishing up there? My bad.
No, and I think it's just like right after Gladiator, you had this huge uptick in these